Highway 174. So again, just off toward the north and west, or I'm sorry, south and west of Adams Run there. And again, this storm is continuing to move off toward the north and west at 40 miles per hour. So again, was located over right around the Adams Run area. So right now I'd say it's kind of just off toward the west of there, moving off toward the northwest. So some of the areas that they're saying in that line, Walterboro, Hollywood, Megget, Cottageville, Jacksonboro, Ashepoo. So all of these areas, and even could cross over I-95 there. Wow, that's assuming it holds together. So they're just saying because it's moving so fast, Dave, moving off toward the northwest at 40 miles per hour. But again, like you said, go to your safe place. So if you're watching us right now in any of the areas that are in red right now, I'm going to turn the radar off so you can see. But again, this is the area under the gun right now. So right around Highway 17 as you head up into Colleton County. So this is a very small part of Charleston County. And Dave, I would say it's going to be out of Charleston County here very, very quickly, making its way into Colleton County. Yeah, it'll cross the Edisto River there into Colleton County and move very quickly inland as it goes from Highway 17 towards 17A. There is I-95. That's pretty far back there. Even Walterboro, Cottageville right here. So Drigger Crossroads there just off to the north and east of Walterboro, and we've seen some of these areas have already had a tornado warning a little bit earlier, and we're going to see multiple tornado warnings overnight tonight and very early into the day tomorrow, because honestly, Helene hasn't even come on shore yet. It's very close to coming on shore just off to the north of Cedar Key in Florida in the Big Bend area. It's going to likely move somewhere in between Gainesville and Tallahassee. So I don't think either of those towns will have to take the brunt of the storm. There's Gainesville, there's Tallahassee, and really it's going to split the uprights between those two. And here's Highway 10, or I-10, here's I-75. Looks like it's going to move inland right off to the west of the intersection of those two major highways in Florida, major interstates, and quite a wobble there. And the winds on this storm right now, 140 miles an hour. It's going to take a while to break that down, especially with a storm of this magnitude. It's a very large storm and a very powerful storm. So sometimes you have a powerful storm, but it's very small. Sometimes you have a very large storm, but it's rather weak. This is both large and strong. So it's very close to coming on shore. Cedar Key is right about there. They've been taking a lot of the storm surge right there around Cedar Key, and just off to the north. Fortunately, in this area of Florida, a lot of the coast here is nature preserve. So hopefully that comes on shore in the nature preserve, and hopefully most of the cities in the path of it will be okay. And it looks like Tallahassee is going to stay off to the west side of the center of circulation. So that would be very good for the folks in Tallahassee. And then it's going to continue up toward Valdosta into Georgia and continue to move off to the north up through Georgia. Now, a lot of these storms that come on shore in this part of the area, we've got a new tornado warning. That's Jasper and Beaufort County. That one just came out. That's probably a little bit farther south of our viewing area. But this hurricane, as it comes inland, it's going to take a while for it to break down. And until this part of the storm, until that gets north of us tomorrow, we're going to be under the tornado threat. This is the side of the storm where you get the tornado threat, the northeast quadrant. And that's where we are. We're in the northeast quadrant, and we're going to stay there till about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Our tornado watch has been extended. The tornado watch is now until 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to continue to see more of those tornado warnings overnight tonight and very early on Friday. Sonia, are you going to zoom in on those tornado watch or warnings that we have now? Yeah, I'm going to go up there. Yeah, so the other one. There you can just to show people Jasper and Beaufort County. So it's that storm that's about to move on shore there. So yeah, this is even south of Hilton Head there. There's Bluffton, there's Hilton Head, there's DeFusky, there's Tybee Island. So this is more of a Georgia tornado that's headed toward Tybee Island and right up the mouth of the Savannah River. Now, fortunately, this thunderstorm that's been right around Adams Run looks like it's weakening, and that's some very good news. So it's right now pretty much right at the intersection of here are some areas for you to look at.
Highway 17, Highway 64, and the Edisto River. It's very close to that area right now.
It's real close to the county line right there between Colleton and Charleston.
And that's what you're seeing right here. This is the Edisto River, Charleston County, Colleton County. So it's moving right now from Charleston County into Colleton County, just off to the west of Lowndes Landing, just off to the north and east of Burnt Church Crossroads. So that's going to continue to push up into Colleton County. And fortunately, it has gotten a lot smaller within the last 5 minutes or so. And hopefully the rotation starts to go away. But it doesn't take a big storm or a big shower to get these small spin-up tornadoes, because even a small shower can cause some of those small spin-up tornadoes to come down, and that's what we're looking at crossing right now from Charleston County into Colleton County. Weak tornado, likely with this thunderstorm, and it can cause damage. Trees down, power lines down. If you do witness any damage, make sure to stay away from it and stay indoors. The first thing you need to do if you do witness some of that damage is call the authorities, call the police, call the fire department, let them know that there's damage in your neighborhood, have them come out and survey it. That way, if a power line is down, they can get the electricity company out there, turn off the power, make sure nobody gets electrocuted. So that's why we want to make sure that you stay safe before, during, and even after these storms. So they can be dangerous even after the fact because of what happens with the power lines coming down. Sonia, what's going on over there?
So yeah, I mean, so I'm just thinking folks in Burnt Church Crossroads, especially if you live kind of on the northeast side of town, definitely need to be in your safe place. Iron Crossroads, that's where it's headed. Lowndes Landing, again, as the storm continues to move off toward the north and west, it's going to pass near you. And Dave, if it holds together, this could impact Cottageville. But again, we know that they've been generally very brief and very weak in nature, and that's how they are with these tropical systems. But I still think folks in Cottageville need to be prepared and make sure they are prepared to get in their safe place if they need to. So hopefully folks, are doing that, and that's how it's going to be. And now we're getting close to 10 o'clock, so a lot of folks going to start to head to bed. So now's the time, make sure, again, we're all attached to these days. So make sure your phone is turned up to where you're going to know if there's, a warning goes off, so you can get up, get to your safe place. It won't be for long, and then you can go back to bed. But we want everyone to be safe tonight.
That's right, because this certainly is not the end of it. This is just the.
They've got the tornado watch till 8 a.m. So
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So this is just the beginning to middle of this system, and like I said, it hasn't even come on shore. Several hundred miles off to our south and west, it's getting close to coming on shore in the Big Bend of Florida. And as Helene does come on shore, it's going to spread out more, and the wind field will spread out even more. So it's tomorrow morning that we could see some tropical storm force wind gusts. Now, I think the sustained tropical storm force winds should mainly stay along the Savannah River from about 4 in the morning tomorrow until about 9 in the morning. So this storm isn't coming right over top of us. A lot of the storms like this one that come out of that area do track right up over top of us, but this one is going to stay off to the west. The center of circulation is going to go up through Georgia and head toward the southern Appalachians and then eventually toward the Tennessee Valley. So it'll stay off to our west, but it's so huge, that's where the problem is. We're seeing these feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, and those are rotating, and they're giving us these weak spin-up tornadoes, and we're going to see more of that overnight tonight. So there is our thunderstorm right around Lowndes Landing. So
up, and then I've got rotation or velocity, so I'm watching the rotation, and it's still kind of holding together. So again, Lowndes Landing, again, I'm trying to pull up some roads so people can, Vanderhorst Road, maybe up around Harmony Hall Lane, Bama Road as it heads toward Cottageville. So Jenkins Club Road.
Yep. If
any of these sound familiar, again, you need to be, but anybody around Cottageville, around Iron Crossroads, again, you're in the area that's under this tornado warning, so you need to be in your safe place.
Yep, and that continues till 10:15. We're sitting at 3 minutes until 10. So there it is.
They just pushed let's see, so they canceled it for Charleston County, not surprising, and they just pushed an update. So let's see, see if they put anything new. 9:56. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Jacksonboro, moving northwest at 40.
Yep.
So not slowing down at all.
So that's Jacksonboro right there along Highway 17, right on the Edisto River. So now it's moving through Jacksonboro and heading up toward Iron Crossroads there, Lowndes Landing, Niles. So right there is Jacksonboro. That's where Highway 64 comes out of Colleton, out of Colleton County on over toward Walterboro. So right there, that's Jacksonboro right there. As soon as you cross over the Edisto River on into Colleton County there. So the storm right now pushing even farther inland. So Jacksonboro, you're actually okay. The circulation has pushed a little farther inland right around Burnt Church Crossroads. So if you're in Burnt Church Crossroads, please be in your safe place right now. Iron Crossroads, the same. Please be in your safe place. Gloverville. These places you need to be on the ground floor of your house. Small interior room, a room such as a coat closet, a small powder room that's maybe underneath some stairs. So that's where you need to be, away from windows, because these tornadoes aren't going to just completely take your house away. What they're going to do is they're going to topple some trees in the neighborhood, and as those trees topple and they come into your house, you could see some siding damage, and if they hit a window, it's going to shatter that window, and the flying glass is where a lot of people get injured. So please make sure you're in your safe place in Burnt Church Crossroad, Iron Crossroad, up toward Cottageville, Drigger Crossroad. So that is where this thunderstorm is headed with the possible tornado. There's Highway 64 right there. This is Highway 17A. There's Cottageville. So it's moving directly toward Cottageville. So the last thunderstorm we saw with the tornado was moving a little closer to Walterboro. This one is moving a little closer to Cottageville. So folks in Cottageville need to be in their safe place right now as this thunderstorm with a possible tornado heads your way. And I've seen this storm, it's kind of cycling through. Every once in a while it kind of weakens a little bit and then it kind of flares back up. That's not something you want to see, because that means this thunderstorm is maintaining itself and likely maintaining the rotation. Are you still seeing that rotation in there, Sonia?
Let me see if I can find it for you.
Oh, there it is.
You can see it right there.
Yes. So here it is,
The
and
Burnt
that's
Church
right in the same area
Crossroads.
that we were talking
Yep.
about. So there's Iron Crossroads, there's Burnt Church Crossroads, there's the wind going back toward the radar.
Cottageville, Iron Crossroads up toward Cottageville.
Right there. So there's the wind going toward the radar. There's the wind blowing away from the radar. Very close proximity. So there is rotation in here. Now, Sonia, we haven't done this yet tonight. Can we get a look at the correlation coefficients handy there? Because we can actually see if there's some debris being lofted. So it would be in this area right here. So
it's pretty cluttered.
Yeah. So probably not, hopefully not, but this is where we'd be looking for something. When the radar sees objects of different sizes, it shows up on the correlation coefficient here, and we're not really seeing that. So hopefully that means all of the objects in the sky right there are uniform in size, meaning raindrops, and not meaning things like tree branches or siding, things like being blown up into the air. So we're talking about the area right around Iron Crossroads right now, Gloverville, Cottageville. That's where this thunderstorm is headed. It's going to continue to move from Iron Crossroads up toward Gloverville. If you live in that area, please get in your safe place. There's Jacksonboro Road, there's Roundo Road, there's Dodds Farm Lane, Harmony Hall Road. So if I'm naming off some of these places, that's where you need to be in your safe place in your house, a small interior room, with the volume of your television turned up so that you can hear our instructions. So some of the other places, let's go back toward the beginning of where this thunderstorm came from, Sonia. And Jacksonboro, you're in the clear right now. Adams Run, you're in the clear right now. Things are looking much better around Burnt Church Crossroads, but Iron Crossroads, you are under the gun right now for the worst of this thunderstorm. Likely rotation moving through there, doesn't guarantee a tornado. But if there are winds strong enough in there, it doesn't have to be rotating. If that comes down and hits your trees, it's going to snap some of those tree branches. It's going to snap some of the power poles, and that will cause power outages. So right around Iron Crossroads, please be in your safe place now. Cottageville, get into your safe place. Even Drigger Crossroads, it's not quite to you yet, but it's going to move very quickly in your direction. 40 miles an hour, is that what we're talking about, Sonia?
Northwest at 40.
So really zipping along at 40 miles an hour. So from Cottageville over toward Drigger Crossroads, that's where I'm most concerned with this storm heading as it pushes inland through Colleton County. So these are the feeder bands coming in off the Atlantic Ocean, and here are some of the cities that will be impacted. So there is Drigger Crossroads way back towards Smokes. That would be a while.
It's far, but it's going so fast that
yes.
I wanted to get an accurate time for like Drigger Crossroads.
So should be there within about 8 minutes, and that's why I said 8 minutes isn't a whole lot of time. Get into that safe place, protect yourself from the wind and from any debris that could be lofted throughout the air. We're looking at that thunderstorm, things looking much better back toward Highway 64 and Highway 17 here through Colleton County, but between Highway 64 up towards 17A, that's where I'm looking at the rotation. That's where I'm looking at the gustiest of the winds and the possible tornadoes. So that's going to continue to push inland through Colleton County. So hopefully it doesn't push all the way over toward Walterboro, but we are looking at Drigger Crossroads, Cottageville. It's mainly going to be just off to the north of Walterboro. So
I think it's going to, honestly, Dave, I think it's going to go almost right in between Walterboro and Cottageville. I think it might clip kind of western sections of Cottageville possibly, but I think for the most part it's going to stay well off toward the east of Walterboro, but kind of splitting the difference between the two.
Yes, so just off to the north of Highway 64 there, almost parallel to Highway 64 from right here.
Yeah.
So it's going to go right about like that, right through Drigger Crossroads. So right there. And like Sonia said, maybe just clipping some of the western portions of Cottageville there along 17A, and then it'll continue on to the west over toward Highway 15 and eventually I-95. So these are moving very quickly inland at about 40 miles an hour coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. So they're out over that smooth surface over the Atlantic Ocean and they just move right along. But then they come inland and there's trees and there's other sorts of objects like houses, and that creates friction. And these thunderstorms begin to spin, and that's when we get these spin up tornadoes. So right now we're looking at that from the Edisto River here back toward Burnt Church Crossroads, up toward Iron Crossroads, and continuing over toward 17A through west central Colleton County there. So that's going to continue to push inland. This is the Edisto River right there. So it is firmly into Colleton County. So
they dropped Charleston County, so now just Colleton County, and again we've got about another 10 minutes. So it goes until 10:15, I believe.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is the area right there in between Walterboro and Cottageville. So make sure that you stay safe. Just get away from the windows. Get into a small interior room on the ground floor. That's where you want to be safe. Here's what it looks like. You don't want to be upstairs on the second floor. You don't really want to be in a family room, a living room with windows. You want to go to a windowless room, maybe a room under the stairs, maybe a laundry room, maybe a small powder room, maybe a pantry, maybe a coat closet, anywhere without windows on the ground floor. I wish we had basements around here because if you can get underground, that's the best place to be. Cover your head, use blankets. Helmets probably not necessary because these aren't like EF3, EF4 tornadoes. We're talking about EF0, EF1. So just protect your head, blankets, pillows. If you're in a mobile home, make sure to get into a house nearby, because a mobile home, it can be blown off of its foundation, and then it can roll, and that can be very, very dangerous. So if you're in a mobile home, you need to get into a sturdy shelter. So want to go back to the radar now. So there we go. And there is our tornado warning. So
getting weaker.
Yes, storm looking much less impressive as it pushes farther inland now. And right now it's right on top of Drigger Crossroads. So
folks there need to be in their safe place.
So in some of the other spots like Cottageville, you should be okay. Iron Crossroads, you should be okay. Burnt Church Crossroads, you should be okay. It's Drigger Crossroads right now that we're most concerned with. So really zipping along. We said 8 minutes ago, just a few minutes ago, and that didn't take 8 minutes. That moved in there pretty quickly. So These are moving very quickly inland, right along Highway 17A now through Colleton County. This is Highway 15 back here to the west, and this will continue to very rapidly move off to the north and west through Colleton County. So a tornado warning still in effect until 10:15, and we're probably going to see more of these tornado warnings through the early morning hours of our Friday. Sonia, you want to go ahead and zoom out a little bit more so we can get a better view of the overall picture, because there it is. Our Hurricane Helene is all the way down in the Gulf of Mexico.
It's nearing landfall now.
It is very close to landfall.
We probably just got an update. Let's see if we got
10 o'clock update should just come in. Last check, 140 mile an hour winds. So
here we go. The eye wall of extremely dangerous Category 4 Helene beginning to move onshore along the Florida coast of the Big Bend. We're looking at winds of 140 miles per hour. They had located, you mentioned Cedar Key earlier. They recently reported a sustained wind of 59 miles per hour and a wind gust of 78. Yep.
So that's Cedar Key right about there. So this storm coming onshore right in the Big Bend. And if you
it's moving north-northeast at 24 now, so it's
really
1 mile
zipping
per hour
along.
faster. Yeah.
Yep. So the faster it moves, honestly, the better for us,
yeah.
because it'll be in and out of here more quickly. The one thing to notice about the coast here of the Gulf, it's like a catcher's mitt, and it's just catching all of that storm surge here. So fortunately, this is a lot of nature preserve through this area, but it's really going to get hit hard and then push inland. It's going to push just off to the east of Tallahassee. So it doesn't look like Tallahassee will take the worst of this storm, but they are going to be on the edge of the eye wall as it pushes inland. Now, we don't have to worry about that because the eye wall is forecast to move through this part of Georgia. We're going to be way over here. So what we're dealing with are these out here, these feeder bands. And as long as we're north and east of the center of Helene, we're going to see these feeder bands in the favored tornado portion of the hurricane. And I'm really a little bit concerned with these thunderstorms out over the Atlantic Ocean. Sonia, can we zoom in on these a little closer? The ones off of Brunswick, Georgia. Those aren't pretty. And those are headed up towards Savannah, Beaufort. They're still about an hour and a half away, but as these come on shore, these are the ones that really could have tornadoes, and we're going to see round after round of that overnight tonight into the early morning hours of Friday. So we're certainly not done with this, and there may be a tornado in your neighborhood, there may not. Not everyone is going to get a tornado, but there will be several more tornado warnings through the early morning hours of our Friday as these thunderstorms rotate in off the Atlantic Ocean. Fortunately, we don't have to deal with the center of the storm, with the real hurricane and tropical storm force winds and the extreme flooding. That's going to stay off to our west. But what we're going to get are those feeder bands that continue to spiral in off the Atlantic Ocean. So more and more of these, and I just don't like to see thunderstorms like that forming out over the ocean. Still have our tornado warning here right around Drigger Crossroads. That's where we're seeing the heaviest of the rain right now and the gustiest of the winds. So possibly some damage, and there's still rotation in that thunderstorm. So toward the radar, away from the radar. That's what we're seeing, the rotation in here. And tropical tornadoes are very different from your springtime thunderstorms out on the plains. These are very small, sometimes hard to detect on radar because sometimes the circulation is very close to the ground. So just off to the west of Cottageville here, right around Drigger Crossroads, that's where we're seeing the rotation. So this is just about to cross Highway 17A and continue to push back toward I-95. So we were looking at the correlation coefficient. So go back, Sonia.
You saw something?
So what do we have?
Because, well, no, it's because the warning is underneath.
So,
I mean,
possibly
there's so much noise there.
There is a lot of noise. So usually you can detect different colors on the correlation coefficient, and that's where you would be seeing different sized objects in the air.
Yeah, we're seeing too much of a uniform color there.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that because that's probably just showing raindrops and gusty winds. Those gusty winds and raindrops crossing Highway 17A, right around Drigger Crossroads, and that's going to continue back toward Highway 15, just off to the south of Sydney there, and then it'll push over toward I-95. So just a few more minutes. Has the Weather Service said anything more?
Nothing new. You know, just want to remind people, you might not live in Colleton County, you might not live in Georgetown, Williamsburg County, but other people do live there. And you know what? If it was my dad, if it was my mom, if it was my grandma, you know, I would want them to know what's going on. So I think people just need to remember that. I mean, these are very quick. They're very brief. Hopefully these aren't actually confirmed tornadoes, but just to remind people that, you know, we're doing a service here. We're keeping people safe. And no matter what program we're covering, we're going to do our jobs. So, all right, so at last check, we've still got about 2 more minutes for this tornado warning. And again, we're continuing to watch it impacting the Drigger Crossroads area. I'm just monitoring the rotation, monitoring how it looks on radar as well. And still,
I spoke to an official from Colleton Fire Rescue. He tells me no reports of any damage at this point, but they're keeping an eye on the radar. I just talked to him 2 minutes ago, and no reports at this point, but they're still keeping an eye on the radar.
All right, and it looks like they did just cancel this tornado warning. So for now, we're done with tornado coverage, but now we are going to go into do you guys want to tell me what we're going to do next? Are we going to go straight into?
We could go back to programming on the ABC side. I think we're doing a simulcast now.
All right, so yeah, because we're on both stations right now. So folks on ABC, we're going to return you to regular scheduled programming for right now. And for folks watching Fox 24, we're going to get into our newscast here.
Fox 24 News at 10 is sponsored by Infinger Furniture. This is Fox 24 News at 10.